بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh everyone, and welcome to the second lesson in this term. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins of our shuyukh, our parents, our beloved ones, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us al-ikhlas fil qawl wal amal and the tawfiq so we can benefit in this hour inshallah ta'ala. Let me start with this hadith. The Uqba ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went out one day. He went to Ahlul Suffa. As-Suffa is a place in the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's Masjid, al-Masjid al-Nabawi, and that place known that fuqara, mainly fuqara al-Muhajirin, the poor of the Muhajirins, they used to sit in there, and it's their place. The place where they normally spend their time, whether it's sleeping, whether it's a dhikr, that's their side, their place. And Rasulullah ﷺ said to them, he said to them, Ala yaghdu. He gave this proposal, if I may say, or a scenario. Any one of you, or would any one of you like to get every morning you go out and you get 2 big she-camel. Imagine for Ahlul Suffa, who are known as poor people, and you're saying to them, would any one of you go out every morning and you return back to your place with 2 big she-camel? They said, we all would like to have that. It's like nowadays for us, would you like to go every day in the morning, you go out and you return home with 2 expensive cars? He said, Naqatani kawmawataini. So Rasulullah means big, large, the camels. As if Rasulullah saying to us nowadays, would you like to go out every morning and you return home with 2 expensive cars? Anyone here? Can I hear an answer? Is an offer there? No one will say no, isn't it? That's a human nature. Rasulullah said to them, go to the masjid, attend a circle where you learn and you recite 2 verses from the book of Allah. That will be equivalent to gaining and getting 2 she-camel, big ones. If you learn 3 verses in this gathering, you'll get 3 she-camels. The hadith in Sahih Muslim, hadith Uqba ibn Amir. If you get 4, if you learn 4 ayat and you read them and you learn them, you get 4 she-camels. And the narrator said, and goes with the number. The more verses you learn, each verse you learn extra, you will get for that as a replacement, as equivalent into getting the camel, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is one of the ways that Rasulullah used to encourage the Muslims to attend classes, places for teaching, learning about the Quran, learning the meaning of the Quran, of course, learn how to recite the Quran. And because of that, Abu Huraira, this way of teaching, Abu Huraira, one of the people, he learned it and he knew this style. That's later on after Rasulullah passed away, later on and during the time of the Tabi'in, Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu went into the Muslims who are in Medina, in the shops of the Medina outside, in the market. He said to them, oh, ayyuhan nas. They start listening. People, Muslims, everyone start listening. They said, the inheritance of Rasulullah started to be divided inside the masjid. Hurry up, go and get your share from there. Everyone's taking a share from there, from the Prophet's inheritance inside the masjid. While you're sitting here, you're still spending the time doing nothing. People rushed, left their businesses. Money is inheritance. When you say inheritance, the mind straight away you think about wealth and money. everyone left the businesses and went inside the Masjid Nabawi. They went inside, they found one of the companions teaching Quran, and the other one is answering questions, and the other one looking into the meaning of some verses. Returned back to Abu Hurairah. Ya Abu Hurairah, you told us that the inheritance of Rasulullah has been divided inside the masjid. We only found son and son of the companions is teaching Quran, and the other one is answering the question, and the other one is explaining the ayat. He said, woe, woe upon you, woe on you. This is the inheritance of Rasulullah. Rasulullah did not leave anything behind him. The knowledge is the book of Allah, the sunnah of Rasulullah, the teaching of Muhammad. That is what's left behind him. And if you take some of that, you took really great thing. If you don't, then you lost it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all the time. So we start today with the ayah 72, the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you can see it in the screen. وَقَالَتْ طائفة من أهل الكتاب آمنوا بالذي أنزل على الذين آمنوا وجه النهار واكفروا آخره لعلهم يرجعون. So the ayah 72 from Surah Al Imran, this is in the context of the preceded ayat, is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about Ibrahim and the claim that was sent by more than one faith or more than one religion. The Yahud, they said Ibrahim was a Yahudi, and the Nasara, they said Ibrahim was a Nasrani, and even the Mushriks of Mecca, they said Ibrahim was one of us. Ma Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he refuted all of this. He said, ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن but كان حنيفا مسلما ولم يكن من المشركين. From there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala start mentioning the who deserve to be Ibrahim will be one of them, and they will be one of they are related to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he started talking about the groups of Ahlul Kitab and what they said, their doubts towards the Muslims who are living with them in Medina. So one of these groups, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned them here, as in this ayah, وَقَالَ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. So as I said to you last week, we'll start with giving a general meaning of the ayah, which is, you can see that in your translation, and then we will go into sabab al-nuzul, the reason why this ayah was revealed, and we'll look into the suitability of this ayah with the previous ayat, and then we'll go word by word, inshallah, of this ayah. So the general meaning of this ayah, وَقَالَ طَائِفَةٌ, a group of people, a group of min ahl al-kitab, from the people of the book, said, آمِنُوا بِالَّذِي أُنزِلَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, believe in what was revealed upon those who believed. وَجْهَ النَّهَارِ, when should you believe? وَجْهَ, the beginning of the morning. وَكْفُرُوا آخِرَهُ, and disbelieve in that, in the same thing that you believed in it, disbelieve in that at the end of the day, at the end of that day that you believed in. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, perhaps those who are the followers of this religion, they leave their religion and they return, they go back into other than Islam. If they were Jews, they go back into their faith. If they are mushriks, they go back into their shirk as well. So there's a general meaning of the ayah. The suitability of this ayah, as I said just now, started with that. There's a continuation of mentioning some of the groups of Ahlul Kitab and what they said, the fitna or the doubts that start spreading amongst the Muslims who lives with them in Medina, trying to get them away from their religion, or bring at least the minimum of that they can bring doubts into their minds and their hearts. Now, sabab an-nuzul, why this ayah was revealed. I'll mention what the Mufassirun said, the scholars of Tafsir said, and then inshallah we will try to make some analysis to these views. The first opinion, this ayah was revealed, as Imam al-Baghawi mentioned in his tafsir, quoting Al-Hasan al-Basri, and I sometimes intend to mention your names because the names are important to know. If it was a tabi'i, as I did mention to you last week, if it was a view of a tabi'i means a follower, students of the Sahaba, you need to value this opinion, because the tabi'een, they learned that from a sahaba, and their views in tafsir is part of a tafsir bil ma'thur. To take the view of a tabi'i, it's million times better than to take your view. I'm not saying even 1 times better, million times. Is you are required to take the views of a tabi'in and tafsir. Is unlike fiqh. When you come into the fiqh, there is evidence, take it. There is no evidence, you leave it. If the view of a tabi'i, even a view of a sahabi, if there is an evidence of views of Sahaba, there is levels on that to have a discussion about it. But I'm saying now in tafsir, it's very important to value the view of the tabi'een in the tafsir. If it was a Sahabi, that's even better. And if it was below the tabi'een, after them, then that's something that's good to know it, but it's not something has a value in, it's not tafsir bil ma'thur, as I did mention to you that last week. So Imam al-Hasan al-Basri and Sudd al-Kabir, they said this ayah was revealed when 12 of the Yahud of Khaybar, 12 members of Yahud of Khaybar, scholars, ahbar of al-Yahud, they got together and they said to each other, listen to this, they said to each other, not to people from outside, scholars, people with knowledge, they said to each other, Aminu billadhi unzila ala alladhina amanu, believe in what was revealed upon the Muslims at the beginning of the day, wajhan nahar, in the morning. Believe in that in the morning. However, later in the day, after dhuhr, during the time of dhuhr and asr, later on of the day, disbelieve in that. Change your opinion and say, now they're talking to each other, 12, let's say 6 to 6, or amongst themselves. And they said, say that we looked into our books that we inherited and we have them at Torah, and we found that Muhammad is not the same description of the Muhammad that we know him, and this is not the right religion that Allah was described for us in a Torah. Saying that, and while you are a scholar, while you are a senior in your religion, and then you became a Muslim, and you say that, we make other people, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, we will make the people who are in this deen, they will have that doubt and they will move away from the religion. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Alim, knew that, and He informed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this plot. This is makida, this is makr, is known as the ulama of tafsir described is a makr, one of the ways that the disbelievers in generally they use and they do that against the Muslims or the deen of Islam. So this is what was, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this ayah. As I said to you, this is a view of Al-Hasan and As-Suddi Al-Kabir. Second opinion was mentioned about this ayah, again mentioned by Imam Al-Baghawi in his tafsir. He said, this is a view of Imam Mujahid bin Jabr, and he is one of the great tabi'in, student of Ibn Abbas, and a view of Muqatil bin Sulaiman, he's a later scholar, he's not a tabi'i, and the view of Imam Al-Kalbi, he's even later as well, he's not from the tabi'in. But his view mentioned by these 3 scholars, one of them from a tabi'in, they said this ayah was revealed when the Yahud heard and they saw the Muslims, they changed their qibla. When the qibla changed was in year 2 after Hijrah. After Hijrah, Rasulullah second year, when he moved to Medina early, and that was in Rajab, as you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Rasulullah, فَوَلِّي وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ, change your qibla to al-Masjid al-Haram and instead facing the Jerusalem. When the Yahud saw that, Ka'ab ibn al-Ashraf and Malik ibn Sayfi, these are all, it was said Daifi as well, Malik ibn al-Daif or Malik ibn al-Sayf, both of them are said in his name. These are 2 of great known Yahudis in Medina. They said to the, as some of the Mufassirin mentioned, to the Safala, to the low level of or the basic or the symbol Yahudis who are from their religion, they said to them, Aminu billadhi unzila ala alladhina amanu wajhan nahar. They said to them, you, our followers, now they are senior in their community. They said to those who are low in their community, believe in the religion of Muhammad. at the beginning of the day, in the morning. However, end of the day, disbelieve in that and say, this is really, it's not the what we expected. It's not the religion that Allah subhanahu described in our book. It's not the Nabi that Allah subhanahu described in our book. And then لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, referring to the other believers. The believers, when they hear that a fitna will be created, that plot will, when we make it in this way, then the people start doubting, the people start questioning Muhammad, and we will get some people who are going to be leaving and moving away from the religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, Al-Alim, Al-Basir, informed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this plot, and the ayah was revealed. This is the views mentioned by the scholars. Allahu Alam, if you look into this, when we come into the Sabab al-Nuzul, the reason, although I said to you earlier, all the time, I'm trying to establish principles, my dear brothers and sisters, for those who are new, in the tafsir all the time. I mean, you know what, when we start tafsir, we learn something called usul al-tafsir, the principles of tafsir. For the one who wants to be strong in learning the tafsir, you need to know the principles of tafsir. However, you can learn them while we're studying. That's one of the ways, inshallah. So I'll try all the time to present anything that related to our lesson. I'll mention it to you. One of the principles in tafsir that you need to be aware of it. When we come to Sabab al-Nuzul, the reason why this ayah was revealed. Now we have a tabi'i. From the tabi'i, he is a second generation. We have a sahabi before him. It may be even there is a big tabi'i before him, and there is a sahabi, and there is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't have connected a chain to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was not amongst the people who was there when the revelation was revealed, and or the ayah was revealed. He was not present when this incident happened. He's a tabi'i. He learned, or his view on tafsir is very important, as we said, in general understanding the meaning of tafsir. When we come to Sabab al-Nuzul, the reason why this ayah is revealed, we need to have connected a chain to the time of that incident, the Sahabi or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we don't have it. So we should not take these two views as authentic, and we cannot relate that to Rasulullah sallam, meaning here we cannot say hadith marfu'. Hadith marfu' means that you attribute this to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can't say that. However, what was said by these two views, it's agreed between the ulama of tafsir, and no one created. Now listen to this, brothers and sisters. When we know this is what was mentioned from the early generation, from the Sahaba and Tabi'een, it's not permissible for anyone else to create a third opinion. We have only two views in there, and not for you. You have no ground, and it's not allowed for you to create a third opinion. It's either take the first opinion or second opinion, and both of them are correct in here, inshallah, to understand them, because the ulama explain the ayah based on both views. So now let's go into word by word and explain to you also the meaning based on both views, inshallah ta'ala. وَقَالَتْ طَائِفَةٌ. So remember, my dear brothers and sisters, Wednesday it's not like Saturday. Wednesday I try to include the Arabic grammar, and we try to break down the words linguistically. You might get bored if you don't know Arabic grammar, but this is how the style since we start this class on Wednesday, and unlike the class on Saturday. But you know what? You will be, by attending this class regularly, inshallah, these phrases I'm going to use them, you'll be familiar to you, and you'll become used to them, and inshallah it'll be easy. Allah said, وَقَالَتْ wa. The letter wa, you all know it, repeated all the time in the Quran. You know how to say it, wa. Wa in Arabic language has more than one meaning. And in the Quran, when you see that at the beginning of the verse, one of the possible meaning, we call it wa isti'nafiyya. Isti'nafiyya means I'm starting a new statement. You might say, then why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have dropped the waw and straight away start with قالت طائفة. I'm saying to you, wow, one of the common meanings for the wow is isti'nafiyya. The phrase isti'nafiyya, it means I'm starting a new statement. This is a new statement, has nothing to do with the previous ayah grammatically. In general meaning, yes, there is connection, but grammatically there's nothing to relate it to the previous ayah. So this is isti'nafiyya. Now I'm just trying to read what is in your mind as a new student for Arabic language. You might say, oh, in Quran, if it was isti'nafiyya, new statement, then why it could have been, Allah could have said, قالت طائفة without the wow, because you're saying a new statement. So why are we having a wow in there? Well, wow to show you, because even without the wow, we might have connection with the verbal sentence that we have it in there with the previous ayah. So wow is a clear, giving you the message that this is a jumla isti'nafiyya. However, there is another meaning. You're going to see that inshallah if you attend this class regularly. You're going to hear me saying to you other meanings for the wow later on. I'm not going to give it to you now because it's not really a point for you to gather all the meanings of the wow in one go. You're going to learn it later on. The meaning that commonly you know it when you say and the word and, it means wow atf. It means we said something previously and this is continuing with the statement. No, it doesn't mean and. It means a new statement. A group of Ahlul Kitab said. That's the meaning of the statement. Wow is isti'nafiyya. Now, Allah said qalat. Qalat is a verb from the root of qala. And qala, you see that a lot in the Quran. Qala Allahu. Originally, my dear brothers and sisters, in Arabic language, we don't have qala. We have qawala. In Arabic language, we have qawala. Because that little alif, you see the alif after the qaf? That's not original letter in Arabic language. Whenever you see an alif, I'll give you something that makes, maybe some of you will get shocked because first time you'll hear it if you start learning Arabic language. We don't have a letter in Arabic language from the 28 letters from alif, the letter that you know it. Alif is referring to Hamza. When you say alif, we're referring to Hamza. Is a, I, u, or a. There is no alif, the one that you see in there. We say it is one alif, but this is a long vowel. This is a long vowel. So when we say alif ba ta, alif we're referring to Hamza. We don't have in Arabic language from the Hamza until the ya a letter called alif. When we have a letter, look, listen to this rule, brothers and sisters. When we have an alif, a letter, the letter has to accept the three signs, fatha, kasra, or dhamma. If it does not accept these signs, it's not a letter. It will be what you call it in English is a vowel. You call them in English vowel. That is what you call it in Arabic is a long vowel, whether it is a vowel of alif or waw or a ya. But waw and ya, they are original in Arabic, can accept fatha, kasra and dhamma. You can say wu, wa, we. You can say ya, ye, you. But this letter, can you say it after the qaf? Can you read it with a fatha? Read it with kasra? Read it with dhamma? You can't read it. It will not accept any vowel. Don't read it with a hamza. If you read it with a hamza, you're going to say, oh, I can say a, e, u. That's hamza. You're reading hamza. And hamza is a letter in Arabic language. Even for those studying tajweed, look into the mouth, look into the empty space in the mouth, the two lips, the throat, the tongue. Is there any part of all these places where we articulate the alif? No. There is the empty space in the mouth when we make the long vowel. Long vowel is all the time related to a letter. I say qa, qa, or you're saying qi, or qu, and here we have an alif, qa. I said this today. Normally I don't say it. We have from some of our senior students. I don't go through that. I just want to give you a flavor only as just some of the taste of knowing Arabic language. Originally, whenever you see qala in the Quran, its origin is qawala. But qawala, it's not easy in the mouth. We have something called i'lal bin naql or bil hadf. We changed the waw into alif and became qala. Qala. How see easy goes qala. But qawala is not an easy. There is the way how you pronounce is not an easy. So this is something that you need just to put it in your on the side in the footnote. It's not really important, but put it. So qala is past tense. Qala means said. Now when you hear when any ayah in the Quran, my dear brothers and sisters, listen to this rule as well. Any ayah in the Quran, when you have the word qala, whether it's in past tense present tense, or imperative. He is a past tense. You need to remember three things. The one who is saying the statement, al-qa'il, the person speaking, and the one who's being addressed with the speech, the one you're talking to, the one who's receiving that message, and the message itself. Three things. You might say it's basic, isn't it? But I need to highlight that. One of the benefit of the word qala, when we say qala Allahu, the one who said this, qala Allahu ya bani Israel. Who said? Who was talking? Who's the sayer here? Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the statement. To whom said the statement? And then what is the statement? So here, the one قَالَ طَائِفَةٌ, the one who said the statement are a group of Ahl al-Kitab. What did they say? We're going to learn that. And to whom it was said, that statement, who was addressed with that statement. We're going to learn it as well. So three things that you expect in this ayah. قالت طائفة. Brothers, sisters, for those who are interested in tajweed as well, can you see the ta? The ta has no vowel, no sign. Let's say no sign, not a vowel. No sign in there. This ta originally has a sukoon on there. Do you know the sukoon, the circle things in there? And whenever you see a verb, past tense, with the ta at the end, with the sukoon, is indicating that the one who said the statement is a feminine word. This we call ta ta'neet as-sakina. The ta which indicates and proves the one who said the statement is a female. It might be a singular. قالت فاطمة, قالت عائشة. It can be plural like this one. The word ta'ifa in its meaning is a plural, but in the letter itself, the word itself is singular. Ta'ifa. Okay. The ta with sukoon in tajweed, if those who studied tajweed or maybe didn't study that, inshallah in the future study that, we have a ta with a ta. This is called idgham. Idgham, you are merging the ta and the ta, you're merging together, and that's why the ta, you see the shad on top of the ta? Can you see the shad on top of the ta? That's because the sound of the ta isn't there. So it will be impossible for you, listen to this, for your recitation, it's impossible for you to say, if I want to pronounce the ta in Arabic language or in the tajweed, we have hams. Do you hear the imam sometimes when he reads with hams? You say, for example, إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ قَالَتْ. That the sound at the end is called hams. I would not be able to pronounce hams because my ta here is merged with the ta. And the ta is a light letter, the ta heavy letter. When I read it, I have to read with the heavy sound. As if I'm reading lam, then straight away to the ta. قالت طا. So you don't say قالت طا. It's impossible, it's difficult to do that. So the ta is merged with the ta. قالت طائفة. طائفة is the doer, is the fa'il. Fa'il, it means the doer of the verb. Now in Arabic language, in Arabic grammar, whenever you see a verb, has to be followed by a doer. Whenever you see a verb, you have to have a doer. The doer all the time comes after it, not before that. It's important for you to know that, my brothers and sisters. You need to know that because this is related also into our aqidah. Arabic language is the key for so many things. One of them is understanding the words of Allah as we have in here. قَالَتْ طَائِفَةٌ. So the one who said, the one who spoke is a ta'ifa. The word ta'ifa, the doer, brothers and sisters, all the time has to be a noun. The doer is a noun. Is not. You can't have a verb followed by a verb. A verb followed by a noun, and that noun is the doer. And the doer all the time, it has a dhamma. Can you see it? قَالَتْ طَائِفَةٌ. Ta'ifatun is a marfu' with a dhamma, and the sign of showing it's marfu' is the dhamma at the end. The word ta'ifa linguistically in Arabic language, as I said, is a noun. And this noun ta'ifa came from a root. Any word in Arabic, if it was an Arabic word, must have a root. That's the beauty in Arabic language. To differentiate between non-Arabic language, a word used by A'jamis, other languages, the Arab, they took it and they use it in their language, we will not have a root for it. We have Ibrahim, we have Ismail, we have Yaqub, we have Ishaq. These are names. They are non-Arabic names. If you ask me what is the root of Ibrahim, because not Arabic word, there's no root for it. Ishaq there is no root for it. Yaqub, there's no root for that. The root means the base, where this word is being developed and made. Coming to the word Muhammad, Ahmad, Umar, Khalid, these words are Arabic words, and there is root for that. The root all the time goes back into its, what do we call, verb and noun, or maybe the past tense. Now, the ta'ifa came from the word tafa yatufu, and tafa yatufu from at-tawafan, when you go around something, when you're going here and there and here and there. Not, it doesn't have to be like in a circle, like you make a tawaf around the Kaaba. They're going to this shop, going to the other shop, and the other shop, and the other shop, and the other shop. You make tawaf. Maybe you're going to north, south, east, west, or maybe north, 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 south, south, south. That's tawaf. You're going around. So that's what the word was developed from, this particular meaning. قال الطائفة. The word طائفة in the language, a ta'ifa is a group, as if you're saying jama'ah. You know, says jama'ah. Jama'ah is a group of people, and ta'ifa is a group of people. So ta'ifa is a group of people. It can be between 3 up to, the scholars of the language, they have different views. It can be from a 3 to 9, something from 3 to 13, from a 3 to, really don't need to go to that views what is the minimum number or what is the maximum number, but a group of people, and that should be enough. However, sometimes in Arabic language we use the word ta'ifa and we refer to one person to make him a glory, to make this person is big and azim, and you can refer to one person as a ta'ifa min al-nas, from the people. قال طائفة من أهل الكتاب. Min is a preposition, and whenever you have preposition, then you have to, the preposition affects the word after it. We'll make it, instead of having a dhamma, which is the original case all the time for the Arabic language, Arabic words, that preposition will make the word majrura with kasra. And that's why we have ahli. You might ask, did you ask yourself one day when you're reading this, sometimes I can find the word ahlu, and sometimes ahli, and sometimes ahla. Why they are changing? Why this word are not changing? Why all the time are different vowels at the end? One day is ahlu, and what time is ahli? Another place in the Quran is ahla or ahlun. These changes in the ending sign of the words, it depends on the place of the word grammatically in that sentence itself. He preceded by min, so the word ahli came with a kasra because of the min. Ahli al-kitab, two words here. Ahli is a mudaf, and al-kitabi mudaf ilayhi, means a phrase, they go together. Ahli al-kitabi, the people of the book. And ahl, well, ahl is a word ahl, family, and the people, the word ahl can be a family referring to your mother and father. It can ahl referring to a wife. It can be ahl referring to a family. It can be referring to a tribe, your own people, a tribe. And here we're referring to a people who are having the same thing in their faith, and which is al-kitab. Ahl al-kitabi, the people of the book. Al-kitabi is majrura because mudaf ilayhi, and al-kitab, it comes from the word al-kitab. See the al in the word al-kitab? I think today, because I seen your faces, and the first time starting an open class to everyone, I sorry to say this again and again, you get tired with my saying. Before this Wednesday class is with limited people that they know Arabic grammar. So I don't repeat, I just refer to something, they will understand it. But here with you guys, and maybe I don't know how many people online, and some people maybe they'll listen to it later on. I need to make myself clear because, and I need to remind you of these rules so later you find them easy. A noun, if it starts with al, can you see al, a little al in here? Just to show you the beauty of Arabic language, and that's, can you see that al? If you have a noun starts with al, you can look from the way how we recite, you can look from the meaning. The way how we recite, you all know al-Qamariya and al-Shamsiya. I'm not referring to that. This is Qamariya. You see the sukun on top of that means you have to pronounce it. But that's not really my point. When you talk about al in meanings, it can be al for what we call it al-ahd al-dhihni. You're referring to someone which is mentioned previously, to something that you know it and I know it. When I say you al-kit, I went to the school. Which is school? You know which is school. The school that we go together. But when you say I went to a school, so there is a definite and indefinite. There is the definite one, you know it and I know it. You know the listener, the reader. We're referring to one that we all know. That's al-ahd al-dhihni. Okay? And the second meaning of al, it can be for al-istighraq. Istighraq means al-jins. The general meaning includes all the types of al-kitab. I'll give you an example to understand this. When we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, first ayah or second ayah in the Quran, surah that all the time you recite. Can someone tell me the meaning of Alhamdulillah? I'm not testing you. I just want to highlight one thing in here. What does in English translation when you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, what they say in the translations? What did you say? All. She said all. Where did you get the word all? It's not in the ayah. Alhamdulillah. I challenge anyone in there. The word all in Arabic language is either kul, the word, there's words for that. Where did we get the word all praises are due to Allah? Where did we get it from? Is the meaning of al. Al in there is for istighraq, means all types of praises. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Hadith al-Shafa'ah, when Yawm al-Qiyamah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come into, when the people are asking, they will come and ask the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while they are waiting for the hisab, and none of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have that wanted to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make the shafa'ah and asking Allah to come for the hisab. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said ana laha, and he will go into the Arsh al-Rahman and he will make sujood and he will say, oh, I praised Allah with praises that I never used them before. So all praises are due to Allah. So you use a praise, I use a praise, you praise. People here anywhere in the world, they're using different praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's saying all praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is istighraq. And here when we say ahlu al-kitab, all types of kitab, no, it's not that meaning. We're referring to a specific kitab, and that is at-Tawrat or al-Injil, or both together, at-Tawrat wal-Injil. So al here is for al-Ahd al-Dihni, the specific one, not the general one. So whenever you read in the Quran, you see a noun with al, remember this. If al was not from the makeup of the word, if al was already from the makeup of the word, then this rule will not be applied. Is that clear? If the al was added into the word, it's not from the makeup of the word itself, because the original of this word is kitab. Kitab is a kitab, a book, and we're referring to the book of Allah, of course. But when we add al, we made that meaning. There are words in the Quran, al, it's from the makeup of the word itself, like the word, we get to have that later, alladhi, alladhina. Can you see them there? Alladhi and alladhina. These are the al in there. They are from the makeup of the word. You can't take it away. That's how the word is it in Arabic. Okay. So go al-kitab. Now the word kitab, again, just give you some principle in Arabic language. If you remember, if you have good memory, all the time will be easy for you. And what I'm going to say now, I did mention it in my reminders in Ramadan. If those amongst you here attends that reminders. Whenever you have the word kitab in Arabic or in Sharia, we refer to the word maktub. Kitab, it means maktub. Kitab comes in the pattern of fi'al. The pattern of fi'al in the language of the Arab, it means maktub, maf'ul. So kitab, Okay, let me explain my words use different language to make it easy for you and start using the language. If I use the word kitab, your mind should straight away understand there's something written in there. If I give you a notebook like this, empty, some people they refer to this kitab. That's not a kitab. Kitab is maktub. There is something written inside it. And that's why we use the word ism maf'ul, maktub. It's maktub. Kitab with the meaning of, so whenever we have the word kitab, it means maktub. Something is maktub, written in there. So this is a kitab because we have verses are written in there. If there is not verse in there, it will not be called maktub. When you write a letter and you send it to someone, you're saying, I send a kitab because something written in there. But if you send an empty letter, nothing written in there, it will not be called kitab in the language. So whenever you see the kitab or the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran, or the kitab, whether Tawrat or Injil, we're referring to something written in there. Min ahli kitabi, so qala ta'ifa, who's a ta'ifa here? Going back into the two views, we mentioned them earlier. Ta'ifa here, that based on the first opinion in the reason why this ayah was revealed, the 12 scholars from the Yahud from Khaybar. Remember the view of Al-Hasan. In the view of Mujahid and others, they said, who is a ta'ifa? The ta'ifa is Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf and Malik ibn al-Sayf. So we have 2 in the second opinion and 12 second opinion. We're referring to what. Now, what I would like you to do, implement the 2 reasons, the 2 explanation in the meaning of the ayah. So a group of 12 people said to each other, قالت طائفة, and who are those طائفة? They are from أهل الكتاب. Min, the word min in Arabic language is لبيان الجنس. بيان الجنس means to show from which type. From which type? From who is saying it? They're saying min ahl al-kitab. They are from the people of the book. And we know that the people of the book can be Christians and can be the Jews. And he was referring to Yahud because that's agreed between the ulama of tafsir. This statement are referring to the Yahud, nothing to do with an-Nasara. Nothing to do with the Christians. And we're referring to either the 12 scholars from the Yahud, or referring to 2 scholars here, Ka'b ibn Ashraf and Malik ibn al-Sayf. Min Ahl al-Kitabi, what they said now, if I want to use the, what they call them, the science of writing, I would put a colon in there, and I open converted commas in here because this is a statement now. So, قالت طائفة من أهل الكتاب. Who said the statement? Are طائفة من أهل الكتاب. What did they say here? آمنوا بالذي أنزل على الذين آمنوا. The word آمنوا is imperative verb, and we use in Arabic language, we say command verb. It's a verb, فعل أمر. فعل أمر means you're commanding someone, you're telling someone to do something. آمنوا is فعل أمر. آمنوا is فعل أمر. It's an imperative verb. And whenever, as I said earlier, if you have a verb, what do you need? What is the phrase? If you remember that, whether in English or in Arabic. Whenever you have a verb, you need to have that followed by a doer, a fa'il all the time. The fa'il, the doer, it can be a proper noun, it can be pronoun. And here we have a pronoun, the waw. Can you see that waw is merged with aminu? This waw here, this is a word, is a letter here, but in reality is a word. Aminu. Waw is a fa'il referring to, in the first opinion, to each other. They were talking to each other. In the second opinion, Al-Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf and Malik ibn al-Sayf, they said that statement to the rest of the Yahud who are low level than them, because Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf is one of the senior of the Yahud in Medina. So based on the 2 views, that's why I said to you, we need to implement the 2 views in our understanding of the ayah, because both of them we can't say this is the right opinion, because we don't have evidence. We don't have hadith. We have to understand that in that way. And that also reminds me of saying to you something, when you rely on the translation of a scholar who translated this, who are you going to rely on? Which one you're going to take? Which of you are going to take it? That's if the one who translated the Mus'haf, the Ayat, he might take the first opinion, he might take the second opinion. That's why that's shown to you, brothers and sisters. Do not, translation is good, but just be aware the translator, he will take one of the views and he will implement it. He's not covering all the views. But when you start tafsir, you're going through all the meanings. Okay, so aminu. Aminu means believe. And believing, brothers and sisters, iman means in Arabic, in Islam, that's not Arabic. In Islam, iman means that you say the statement of the iman, the shahada. You believe that in your heart. So the action of the heart, action of the tongue, and action of the bodies. So the limbs. So you need to say the statement, you believe in that, and you act upon what you believe in it. That's al-iman. But what they are telling them to do in here, as we'll be seeing by the end of the ayah, they're telling them to have a nifaq. You know what does nifaq means? You show from what appears to the others that you are a believer. Your actions are actions of the believers. So what is and you're saying the statement of the believers. And what is missing? What is inside the heart? So inside your heart, you're disbelieving in that. And that's a nifaq, being a hypocrite. So that is a nifaq. They're telling them to have a nifaq, as we'll be seeing by the end of the ayah. So they said, aminu, believe. Billadhi, we have aminu, as we said, fi'l and the fa'il. And billadhi, ba is harf jar, again, it's a preposition. And alladhi ism mawsul. We call it ism mawsul in Arabic grammar. In English grammar, they call it what's ism mawsul? Connecting nouns, possibly. So alladhi, you're referring billadhi, by the one, or believe in the one, that alladhi, that. Unzila. What is that unzila? Unzila ala alladhina amanu wajhan nahar. We'll be seeing inshallah that in the meaning. Let me go into unzila. Unzila, it's a verb as well. Alladhi is a noun. Alladhi is a noun. Whenever you see a noun, a word preceded by preposition, brothers and sisters, then in this case, you know it's a noun, because you will never have a verb preceded by preposition. All the words after the prepositions has to be nouns. So here, billadhi is a noun. Unzila is a verb. And this verb, you know in English they have active verb and passive verb. This is a passive one. So you are hiding, you not want to tell us who did the action. And in Arabic, in Sharia or in Arabic language, there are many reasons for that. Unzila ala alladhina. We know the one who reveals that. Who's the one who reveals the revelation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So billadhi anzalahu Allah, you can't say that, but because it's known to us, so they made unzila as mabni lil majhul. Fi'lun mabni lil majhul, it means the doer is not mentioned in here. Unzila was revealed. Ala alladhina, upon alladhina amanu, upon those. Alladhina, those. Amanu, the first aminu is fi'l. And amanu, the second one, is a fi'l as well, verb. But the first one is an imperative verb. And the second one is a past tense. The doer of the first aminu, referring to the Yahud. The second doer of the doer of the second amanu is referring to the believers themselves. The Muslims. Amanu. Because talking about the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, wajhan nahari. Now they're telling them, believe in what was revealed upon or to those who are believed, the believers, Muhammad and his companions. Meaning that here, you can be in the first opinion, my dear brothers and sisters, the first opinion, they're referring to generally the Islam, the deen, the revelation. In the second opinion, they're referring to the salawat, the prayers. Because we are referring to what the second opinion says. Let me check if you still remember that. Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf and Malik ibn al-Sayf or Malik ibn al-Dayf, both of them correct. What did they say to the rest of the Yahud? They said to believe in that when this ayah was revealed. Related to which incident? We said the second year. What is the incident? Can someone remind me? change of the Qibla, and that is talking about change of the Qibla that happened in Salat al-Asr, as many narrations mention that. Or let's say Salat al-Dhuhr. Now they're saying to them, Aminu billadhi unzila ala alladhina amanu wajha nahar. They refer to the prayers based on second opinion. Based on the first opinion, they're referring to a general meaning, believe in the deen of Islam, that Muhammad is companions and Muhammad they believe in. However, later on the day, disbelieve in that. But the second opinion, they're saying to believe in the prayers of the believers. It means attend it, come there, come to Salat al-Fajr. But then later on, say we are not believing in that. It means when Salat al-Asr and Salat al-Dhuhr. Why? Because of the change of the Qibla. Can you see now? That's why I said to you, two different views, and it's not easy to combine them, to bring them together and accept both of them, because one of them is general and the other one is specific for Salah, referring to the Salawat. So, آمنوا بالذي أنزل على الذين آمنوا وجه النهار واكفروا آخره. I'm going to, because I need to finish one ayah. I know that at the beginning we went out for mentioning to you some grammar here, grammar there. Later on, for whatever that I mentioned to you in the first lesson, I'm going to remind you. I will say to you that I mentioned this to you, and you should remember it, inshallah. Amanu wajha nahar. So amanu, we have a past tense, and the waw is the dua. Wajha nahari. Wajh, you know wajh. Wajh literally means face, but doesn't mean face. Wajh An-Nahar is a mudaf and mudaf ilayhi, and the word wajh grammatically we call it ظرف زمان. ظرف زمان of مفعول فيه. When you do an action, brothers and sisters, you do an action on a place. So the action was taking a place. Now we are learning, we are teaching. Where we are teaching? In the masjid. The masjid is a maf'ul bihi. When talking about the time is from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. That is what we call maf'ulun fihi. You're talking about timing, and it's a time. Wajh an-nahari, you're referring to the time in here. Wajh, and that's why it's all the time mansub. We have a fatha on the word wajh, and wajh is mudaf, and an-nahari mudaf ilayh. We call wajh an-nahari because in Arabic language, brothers and sisters, they refer to the beginning of something by wajh. If you look into the person, the first thing that important in the body of the humans is the face. You start with the face and then go to the rest. So the first thing that you look into the person, the face. And wajh an-nahari, the beginning of the day. And that is the best timing of the day, which is wajh an-nahari, the beginning of the day. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, alaykum bil-bukur. Al-bukur means the early time. That early time when the day is blessed, and that's why you can do so many things during the day, early time after Fajr, more than what you do maybe in the rest of the day. Wajh an-nahari means the early time, the beginner time of the day. An-nahar is is the daytime. An-nahar. Wakfuru akhirahu, and disbelieve. Wakfuru, waw here is waw al-atf, means and. Ukfuru again is imperative. This is the instructions of Ka'b ibn Ashraf, Malik ibn Saif, based on the second view. They're telling the other followers, disbelieve in their prayers. Based on the first opinion, the 12 scholars, they're telling each other, amongst each other scholars, let us believe in this at the beginning of the day, and let us disbelieve in it at the end of the day. Wakfuru, and ukfuru, al-kufr is all the time against and opposite of the word iman. Iman and kufr. Iman and kufr. Shirk and tawheed. Now have iman and kufr. If iman is to believe in Allah with your heart, to say the statement with your tongue, and to act upon that, the kufr will be either you disbelieve in Allah by your heart, or you disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or anything related to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your tongue, or you disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by an action. That's will teach you today that an act of disbelief, it can be by heart, tongue, or action. Heart, I don't believe. Someone says, I don't believe in the existence of Allah. I don't believe in messengers of Allah. I don't believe in the books of Allah. I don't believe this is an act. This is an act of disbelieving. If you believe that inside your heart, someone says a statement with his tongue, and that statement is a statement of disbelieving. Maybe someone will swear, say bad things about Allah. That is a statement of kufr. Someone will make an action of kufr. He goes and makes sujood in an idol, and that's an act of kufr. So the kufr can be by action, statement, or by heart. Same as the iman, as we mentioned earlier. وَكْفُرُوا آخِرَهُ. Akhir an-nahar, based, akhir means the end of an-nahar. Akhirahu, my dear brothers and sisters, the ha in akhirahu referring to an-nahar. Akhirahu, at it's the end of the day, the nahar, referring to an-nahar. And akhir, it means the end, the end. Beginning, the word wajh means the beginning of the day. Akhir is the end of the day. And what is the end of the day? Based on the second opinion, is Salatul Asr. Based on the referring to the Salah specifically, and based on the first opinion, which is the 12 scholars from the Yahud, is just a general, not specifically Salah, but at the end of the day, just say I'm disbelieving in the deen of Muhammad, because it does not really match with what we have a description in our books, as we said earlier. Okay? Now all of this action, because of what? لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. Perhaps the believers, the Muslims, they will return back into second opinion of Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf and Malik ibn Sayfi. They will return back into facing Jerusalem. In the first opinion of the 12 scholars of Yahud, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, perhaps they might return back into their religion in general, which is, whether if you were originally Yahudi, like some of the Yahud, they return back into Islam, to the Yahudiya, or those who are Christian, they return back into Christianity, or the mushriks, they return back into their shirk. So the first opinion, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, perhaps they return back into their own religion, general. In the second opinion, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, they may return to the facing the Jerusalem, because they're referring to a salah, to the prayer. Clear? I have more to say about this, but I'm not going to leave you to go home without going through some of the highlighting the importance of the fawaid, the points that we can get from this ayah. First, which is really I eager to highlight it and to mention in here, is in this ayah, my dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing to us the importance of al-adl, being and showing the justice in here. When we refer and quote an opinion, we say all of those people are doing this. You know, we say sometimes, well, you know, the Arab, they are very arrogant. They're very bad. You know, I went to Saudi, the Saudis are this and that. All the Saudis are like this. All the Arab like this. All the Pakistanis are all of this. All this. We refer to whole nations as they do that action, which is incorrect, isn't it? Allah said, قَالَتْ طَائِفَةٌ طَائِفَةٌ. He is not saying to us, قَالَ أَهْلُ الْكِتَابِ. I could say this in a different way. I say to you, قَالَ أَهْلُ الْكِتَابِ, and people of the book said this and that. But Allah is referring to a group of them, not all of them. Not all of them. And that's very clear even in Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about Ahlul Sabti, the people who are min Ahlil Kitabi, min Ahlil Kitabi, a group of them. You're not referring to all the Yahud. He's not referring to all the Jews that are saying this and doing this. Only a group of them made and said this action specifically. Allah wants to show you how careful you when you want to quote a statement, and when you want to refer and attribute an action to a nation, to a people who have a believing in something, refer to it in a specific way. I will say some of them, part of them, those who believes in that. Don't say all of them. That's one of the benefits in that. Shows to you also, my dear brothers and sisters in here, I will use the word mu'jizat. Now, mu'jiza means the miracles, but inshallah next week I will tell you something important about using the word mu'jiza. I believe most of you, maybe if you don't speak Arabic, you know the word mu'jiz, isn't it? In your language, do you say it? But the mu'jiz is not the right term to use, although it's commonly used. I'll explain to you that inshallah next week. So one of the miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed to us in here, one of the ayat, evidence to show Muhammad is a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he told him that a group of people said this and that. They plotted, they made it amongst themselves. Muhammad was aware of that, and he came to them and he told them the ayah when the Wafd Najran came. You remember this ayat was revealed because of that delegation of the Christians when they came. He told them what Ahlul Kitab said. And that shows to you Muhammad, he's receiving that from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's an ayah to prove that Muhammad is a prophet from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, also to show you that whatever was a third point that you can get in here, whatever that the others, I'm not going to refer to, the others who are not happy with Islam, not happy with the Muslims, whatever that plot, they plan, they make, the one who's there, he will expose their plots, he will make it valid, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his hikmah, if he wanted that to continue and the Muslim will be tested, they will be tested. Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. The one who knows all these maka'id, these plots that the other than making it, Allah told his Prophet about it and he protected the believers from this fitna. Inshallah, next week I would like to share with you, although this plot was made long time ago, 1400 years ago, but this continue until today. And this is something, inshallah, we're going to refer to it next week before we start the new ayah. I'll stop here, inshallah. I hope that you enjoyed the lesson. If I said something correct, that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I said something incorrect, that's from me and from my shaitan. May Allah forgive me. Allah knows best. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.